The clock struck 3 a.m. when Tessa found the crumpled note hidden beneath the family photo, a confession that shattered her world. 3 years of deceit came crashing down in those 6 words. Dad isn't who you think he is. As the officer stood in her dimly lit living room, the weight of betrayal hung heavy in the air, twisting her heart like a knife. Just weeks before her wedding, she was left questioning everything she had ever known. My name is Tessa. I will expose the truth no matter the cost. I could feel the air grow thick with tension as the officer shifted uneasily, his badge glinting under the flickering light. I wanted to scream, to demand answers, but instead I stood frozen, caught between a past I thought I understood and a future that felt suddenly uncertain. The message from my grandmother danced in my mind, an echo of secrets waiting to be unraveled. Dad isn't who you think he is. The words felt like a ticking time bomb, and I was standing right on top of it. My heart raced as I thought of Marcus, my little brother, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing just beneath the surface of our seemingly normal family. I had to protect him from this chaos. I glanced back at the officer, his eyes heavy with something I couldn't quite place. Regret? Guilt? I took a deep breath, steadying myself, determined to take charge of my life and the truth that had been buried for too long. "What do you know about my father?" I asked, my voice steadier than I felt. He hesitated, and that alone sent a chill down my spine. "I think it's best we talk somewhere private." Something about his tone made my skin crawl, but I nodded, desperate for answers and willing to follow him into the unknown. As we stepped outside, the cold night air hit me like a slap, awakening all my senses. I hugged my jacket tighter around me, the chill a stark contrast to the warmth I had once associated with home. We walked down the dimly lit street, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was stepping into a trap, the shadows looming larger with each step. "What do you know about our family?" I pressed again, my voice barely above a whisper. He stopped abruptly, turning to face me, a conflicted look crossing his face. "Your father has been involved in things that, well, they're not what they seem." My stomach dropped at the implications, and I felt the ground shift beneath my feet. "What do you mean? What things?" I needed clarity, but the officer's silence gnawed at me. "Please, I deserve to know. My family is in danger, and I can't just sit back and wait." He sighed, rubbing the back of his neck, and for a moment I thought he might actually tell me everything. "I can't disclose everything, but your father's been linked to some cases that involve more than just routine police work. I've seen things, Tessa. You have to understand that he's not just a cop, he's involved in something much darker." The words hung in the air, heavy and suffocating. "You're lying," I said, though a part of me feared the truth hidden in those words. "My dad would never." "He's done things to protect you and your brother," he interrupted, urgency lacing his voice. "But what if those things put you in danger? What if he's not the man you think he is?" The officer's question lingered in my mind as I stumbled back, trying to process the implications. I had always viewed my father as a hero, a protector, but now every memory I had of him twisted into something unfamiliar and threatening. How could I have been so blind? "What do I do?" I asked, feeling the weight of the world crashing down on me. "Gather information, talk to your mother," he suggested, and I felt a surge of anger. I didn't want to involve Olivia in this mess. She had her own battles, grappling with the specters of our family's past. "I can't bring her into this," I protested. "She's been through enough." "Trust me, it's the only way to get to the bottom of this," he insisted. "Your family is at a tipping point. You're stronger than you think, Tessa, but you need to find out the truth before it's too late." His words ignited a fire within me. I wouldn't let David's secrets tear us apart. I couldn't let fear dictate my next move. "Okay," I said, determination filling my voice. "I'll talk to my mom, but you need to promise me that you'll keep an eye on my family. If there's a chance my father is involved in something dangerous, I won't let him hurt Marcus." "I promise I'll do what I can," he replied solemnly. "Just be careful. The truth is a double-edged sword." As we headed back toward home, my heart raced, pounding against my ribs like a caged bird desperate for freedom. I could feel the weight of the secrets pressing down on me, but it was my responsibility to uncover them. I had to protect Marcus, and if that meant confronting Olivia about our past, then so be it. I would not back down. When we arrived, the house loomed in front of me, shadows draping over the familiar structure, transforming it into something menacing. I walked in, bracing myself for the confrontation that awaited. The living room was dim, and I could hear Olivia in the kitchen, humming softly to herself, completely oblivious to the turmoil that was about to erupt. "Mom?" I called out, my voice trembling slightly. She emerged, wiping her hands on the dish rag, and her eyes lit up with concern when she saw my face. "Tessa, what's wrong?" I hesitated, the words caught in my throat. "I need to talk to you about Dad," I finally said, the weight of those words crashing down like a tidal wave. The humming stopped, and the kitchen felt thick with unspoken words. "Is this about the officer?" Olivia asked, her expression shifting from worry to something darker. "Yes, it's about what he told me, what he knows about Dad." I watched her face fall, her eyes clouded with a blend of fear and regret. And I realized then that the foundations of our family were about to be shaken to their core. I took a deep breath, my heart racing as I searched for the right words. "Mom, I think there's something more going on with Dad. I found a letter, and it talks about things he hasn't told us, things that could change everything." The air grew denser, as if the weight of my revelation pressed down on us both. Olivia's expression hardened, her defenses rising like a wall around her heart. "What kind of things?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper, as if the very act of speaking the truth could summon dark forces. I hesitated, unsure of how to lay the truth before her. "Things about his past, about why we moved here. He's not just a police officer, Mom. He's involved in something dangerous." Her eyes widened, disbelief flickering across her features. "Tessa, you can't just go around accusing your father. He's trying to protect us." The tone of her voice was sharp, but beneath it, I sensed a tremor of uncertainty. Perhaps she had sensed it too, the shadows lurking in our family history that we had long been too afraid to confront. I leaned closer, trying to bridge the distance that felt like a chasm between us. "I'm not accusing him, Mom. I'm trying to understand why we're so afraid to talk about our past, why you don't want to mention Grandma or what happened before we came here." The knot in my stomach tightened as I thought of Marcus, innocent and blissfully unaware of the storm brewing around us. What if Dad's hiding something that could hurt him or us? Olivia looked away, her fingers nervously tracing the edge of the countertop, as if the cool surface could ground her in reality. "There are some things better left buried, Tessa. You have to trust me on this." Her voice faltered, and I caught a glimpse of the woman who had once been a spirited mother, vibrant and full of life, before the burden of our family's secrets weighed her down. "Trust you?" I echoed, the frustration bubbling up within me. "How can I trust you when it feels like you're keeping everything from me? I'm not a child anymore, Mom. I need to know." I saw her flinch at my words, and for a moment I regretted the sharpness of my tone. But the urgency pulsed through me like electricity, and I had to push forward. "Your father loves us, Tessa," she finally said, her voice steadier now, but the tremor still lingered. "He's trying to keep us safe. You don't understand what it was like for him before he became a cop." The bitterness in her words hinted at a history I was desperate to uncover, a tangled web of choices and consequences that had shaped the man I called Dad. "What was it like?" I pressed, almost pleading. "What did he do? What was so bad that we had to leave everything behind?" My voice quivered slightly, but I stood my ground, determined to peel back the layers of silence that surrounded us. Olivia sighed. her shoulders dropping as if she were carrying an invisible weight. "He did things that haunt him," she admitted, the shadow of sorrow crossing her face. "When he was younger, he made choices that put him on the wrong side of the law. But he turned his life around. He wanted to be a protector, not a predator. That's why we moved here, to start fresh." The revelation hit me like a punch, and I struggled to process it. My father, a protector shaped by the darkness of his past. But what if he's still in too deep? What if his past is catching up with him? My mind raced, visions of danger swirling around. What if he's involved in something more than just policing? Olivia shook her head, her face lined with worry. "He wouldn't do that. He loves you both. He'd never put you in harm's way." There was a fierce loyalty in her voice, but I wondered how much of that was denial. "Mom, I need to talk to him," I declared, the determination burning bright within me. "If there's something I can do to help him—" "No," she snapped. Her sudden intensity caught me off guard. "You can't confront him, Tessa. You don't know the full story." Her eyes bore into mine, and I saw the depth of her fear. "It could put you in danger. I won't allow that." I stepped back, taken aback by her fierce protectiveness. "You're not the one who gets to decide what I can and can't do. I can handle myself." I felt my heart pound, the tension between us thickening like a storm cloud ready to burst. "Handle yourself?" she scoffed, her words laced with frustration. "You don't even know what you're dealing with. There are things you can't unsee, things that can shatter everything we have." "Isn't it better to know?" I shot back, my voice rising with passion. "Isn't it better to face the truth than live in fear? I can't pretend anymore." A heavy silence fell between us, both of us breathing hard, emotions raw and exposed. Just then, Marcus wandered into the kitchen, innocent and oblivious to the tempest swirling around him. "What's wrong?" he asked, his wide eyes darting between us. I forced a smile, squatting to meet his gaze. "Nothing, buddy, just talking about school." I could feel my mother's eyes on me, urging me to play along, to shield him from our turmoil. "Are you sure?" he pressed, sensing the tension. "You both look kinda angry." Olivia knelt beside him, her expression softening. "We're just having a grown-up conversation. How about you go play outside for a bit?" "Okay," Marcus agreed, though I could see the concern still written across his face. As he skipped out of the room, I felt the air shift. "Look, Mom," I said, my tone softening. "I'm not trying to hurt anyone. I just want to understand. We can't keep living like this, pretending everything is fine. We need to face whatever is out there." Olivia looked at me, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "You're right, Tessa, but promise me you'll be careful. This is bigger than you realize." "Promise," I replied, my heart steadying, "but I need to talk to Dad." With a nod, she sighed, a reluctant acceptance settling between us. I knew we were standing on the brink of something monumental, and the path ahead was uncertain, but I felt ready to confront the truth, whatever it might be. As I stepped out into the sun, determination surged within me. I had to confront my father, unravel the secrets that bound us, and discover what it truly meant to be part of this family. The journey ahead was fraught with peril, but I was no longer afraid. I was ready to fight for our future. If you enjoyed this story and want to see what happens next, please subscribe for more updates. I trudged down the street, the weight of my mission settling heavy on my shoulders. The sun glared down, but the heat on my skin was nothing compared to the fire in my heart. My thoughts spun in chaotic circles, replaying every moment that had led me here. Each step felt like a countdown to the confrontation I knew I had to face. I wanted to believe that uncovering the truth would bind our family closer together, but deep down, I feared it might shatter us instead. As I approached our modest home, I spotted Marcus playing in the yard, his laughter a stark contrast to the turmoil brewing inside me. He was oblivious to the complexities surrounding us, a beacon of innocence in a world filled with shadows. I wondered if he would still see the world so brightly once the truth came to light. The thought made my heart ache. I had to protect him, even if it meant stepping into the storm myself. The front door creaked open as I entered, the familiar sense of home enveloping me. I could hear Olivia in the kitchen, the sound of pots clanging and the faint hum of a song she always played when she was lost in thought. I hesitated for a moment before stepping into the kitchen, steeling myself for what I was about to do. My mother looked up. Her brow furrowed in concern as she caught sight of my serious expression. "Tessa, what's wrong?" she asked, putting down the spatula. Her eyes searched mine, filled with an urgency that only a mother could muster. I could see the lines of worry etched into her face, and it pained me to think that I was the cause of it. "I need to talk to you about Dad," I blurted out, the words spilling from my lips like a river breaking its banks. "There's something he's been hiding, something about Grandma." I watched as Olivia's face went pale, her hands trembling slightly as she grasped the edge of the counter. The moment hung between us, thick with unspoken fears. "Your father, he has his reasons," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. I could tell she was searching for the right words, but the hesitation only fueled my resolve. I stepped closer, my heart pounding. "Mom, we can't keep pretending everything is okay. I found something that could change everything. And I need you to be honest with me." My voice wavered, but I held her gaze, hoping she could see the determination in my eyes. With a heavy sigh, she ran a hand through her hair, her expression torn. "You don't understand, Tessa. Some things are better left buried. There are reasons I've kept secrets from you, things you're not ready to hear." I could feel the walls closing in, her reluctance pushing me further into a corner. "I'm ready. I need to know why Dad is acting strange, why he's keeping us in the dark," I insisted, frustration bubbling to the surface. "If he's hiding something about Grandma, then it affects all of us. We deserve to know the truth." Just then, the front door slammed shut, announcing David's arrival. The tension in the room shifted, and I could sense the fear creeping into my mother's demeanor. She straightened up, putting on a mask of composure as he entered, his expression unreadable. I felt a knot tighten in my stomach. Now was not the time to back down. "Hey, how was your day?" David asked, glancing between me and Olivia, an underlying tension crackling in the air. I could tell he was trying to gauge the situation, but I wasn't about to let him sidestep my questions any longer. "Dad, I need to talk to you," I said, my voice strong and unwavering. "It's about Grandma. I found a message that could change everything. Why didn't you tell us about her?" His brow furrowed, and for a moment I thought I saw a flicker of something. Fear? Guilt? It was gone in an instant, replaced by a steely calm. "I don't think you understand the danger this conversation could bring," he replied, his voice low and guarded. The way he said it sent chills down my spine. "Sometimes knowing too much can put you at risk." I could feel my heart racing, the urge to push back bubbling to the surface. I refused to accept his dismissive tone any longer. "Or maybe it's just easier for you to keep secrets," I shot back, anger sharpening my words. "You're supposed to protect us, but all you're doing is hiding from the truth. I deserve to know what's really happening." David's face hardened, and the silence that followed felt like an eternity. Olivia's eyes darted between us, a silent plea for calm. But there was no calming the storm that had begun to brew inside me. I could no longer sit idly by while my family crumbled under the weight of secrets. "Enough!" David's voice rang out, firm and authoritative. "You're not ready for this. You don't understand the implications of what you're asking." He took a step toward me, and I could sense the tension in the air growing thicker. My breath hitched, but I stood my ground. "Then help me understand. This isn't just about you anymore. It's about all of us. We have to face the truth together, or it's going to destroy us." The room fell silent again. the air heavy with unspoken words and unresolved emotions. I could see David wrestling with his thoughts, his facade cracking under the pressure. I held my breath, waiting for his answer, knowing that it might very well change everything. David finally exhaled, the tension in his shoulders easing just a fraction. "You're right, Tessa," he said, his voice low but steady. "I've been trying to protect you well, but maybe I've only succeeded in making things worse." As he spoke, I noticed the shadows beneath his eyes, reminders of sleepless nights spent buried in his own thoughts. It was a glimpse of the man behind the badge, a father conflicted by the duty to uphold the law and the desire to shield his family from the consequences of his actions. "Whatever it is, we can handle it together," I urged, feeling a surge of determination. "But we need to know the whole story, all of it. It's the only way we can move forward." My heart raced as I considered the gravity of what might come next. I glanced at Marcus, who sat on the edge of the couch, his innocent face mirroring the worry that clouded my own. I wanted to protect him from whatever dark secrets lay ahead, yet I also realized that sheltering him might only delay the inevitable. David looked away, his gaze lost in the distance, as though he were trying to sift through a memory too painful to share. "Your grandmother, she was involved in something that wasn't just about family. There were people, dangerous people. I didn't want you to get mixed up in it. That's why I kept everything from you." His admission hung in the air like a heavy fog, and for a moment, I was at a loss for words. My grandmother, the woman whose warmth I had always cherished in photographs, was entangled in darkness? "But we've got to know what it was," I insisted. "You can't just drop that bombshell and expect us to ignore it." Marcus shifted nervously beside me, and I could sense the weight of my words settling on him too. "Your mother and I thought the past was buried, but it appears it's not." David finally turned to look at Olivia, his expression tinged with regret. "I should have told you sooner, Olivia. Maybe this could have been different." Olivia's eyes glistened with unshed tears, and I could see the struggle etched on her face. "You know how much I wanted to leave that behind, David. I thought we could start fresh. But if this is coming back to haunt us," she trailed off, her voice breaking. The pain of the past was gnawing at her, and I could almost hear the echo of old wounds being reopened. "Then we fight back," I said, my voice rising slightly as passion coursed through me. "We find out what really happened. We uncover the truth, and we deal with it together. We can't let it tear us apart." My resolve felt like a lifeline tossed into turbulent waters, and I hoped they could cling to it as tightly as I did. David looked at me with a mix of admiration and concern, while Olivia pressed her lips together, clearly torn. "What if this truth is too much for us to handle?" she whispered, her eyes flickering toward Marcus, who was now clutching his stuffed dinosaur, oblivious to the weight of our conversation. "We have to try," I responded, my heart thudding against my ribs. "We owe it to each other to face this head-on. We can't live in fear." Slowly, David nodded, his expression hardening with newfound resolve. "You're right. I should have trusted you more, Tessa. You're stronger than I ever realized." It felt like a small victory, but I knew there was a long road ahead. "How do we even start?" Olivia asked, her voice steadying as she leaned forward. I could see the flicker of determination reigniting in her. "There's a box in the attic," I recalled, the memory surfacing like a long-buried treasure. "It belonged to Grandma. I found it once when I was younger, but I never had the courage to open it. Maybe there are clues there, something she wanted us to find." "Then that's where we'll begin," David declared, his determination echoing through the small living room. "We'll go together, all of us." I looked at Marcus, who still seemed lost in his own world, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing around him. "You okay, buddy?" I asked, resting a hand on his knee. He looked up at me with wide eyes, confusion flickering across his features. "What's happening? Are we going on an adventure?" "Something like that," I replied, forcing a smile. "But we need to be brave, and we need to stick together, all right?" He nodded, albeit cautiously, as if sensing the weight of the moment. As we made our way toward the attic, I felt a strange blend of fear and excitement. Each step felt monumental, like we were descending into the heart of a mystery waiting to be unraveled. I pushed the creaking door open, dust swirling in the dim light. The attic loomed before us, filled with forgotten memories and echoes of a past we had tried to leave behind. "Help me find that box," I urged, as we began to sift through the clutter. I could sense the anticipation crackling in the air, and I silently prayed that whatever lay within would provide the answers we so desperately sought. In that moment, with my family close by, I felt a flicker of hope. Maybe facing our past wouldn't break us after all. Perhaps it would guide us toward a future where we could finally heal. The weight of the unknown pressed upon us, but as I looked around at my family, I knew we had each other. Whatever darkness awaited, we would confront it together, step by step. The next morning, the light crept through my window, illuminating the remnants of last night's revelations. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, trying to piece together the fragments of our conversation. My heart still raced from the weight of everything we had uncovered, but there was a new determination blossoming within me. I had to dig deeper into my grandmother's history, into the roots of our family's pain. Something told me that the hidden message was just the tip of the iceberg, and I was ready to dive into the depths. After a quick breakfast, I gathered my courage and approached my mother, who was sipping her coffee in a daze. "Mom, can we talk about Grandma's message? I think it's more important than we realize." Her eyes flickered up, a mix of surprise and hesitation clouding her expression. I could see the wheels turning in her mind, the struggle between wanting to protect me from the harsh truths and the undeniable need to confront the past. "All right," she finally said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Let's sit down." We moved to the small dining table, where the light felt almost too bright for such heavy discussions. I took a deep breath, choosing my words carefully. "I think Grandma left that message for a reason. There are things about our family that we need to understand, things you've kept from us." Olivia sighed, her shoulders slumping as if the weight of the world rested on them. "I know, Tessa, but some things are better left buried. Your father and I made choices to shield you and Marcus from our past." I felt a flash of frustration. How could she protect us by hiding the truth? "Mom, we deserve to know. I deserve to know." She looked at me, her eyes welling with tears. "I wish I could take it all back, but some truths come with pain, and I don't want to see you hurt." My heart ached for her. I understood that she carried her own burdens, but I couldn't help but feel the urgency of our situation. "We can face it together, Mom. Marcus needs to know too. We can't keep running away from this." After a long pause, she nodded slowly, as if conceding to the inevitable. "All right, let's start digging, but promise me you'll be careful. There are things about your grandmother that might change how you see her, how you see us." I felt a rush of determination. "I promise, but I need your help. If we're going to uncover the truth, we need to do it as a family." With that, we began piecing together the puzzle of my grandmother's life. We spent hours sifting through old photographs and letters, dust motes dancing in the sunlight as we uncovered memories buried under layers of neglect. Each artifact told a story, of love and loss, of choices made in desperation. I noticed how Olivia's hands trembled as she held each letter, her expressions shifting with every revelation. It was clear that the more we uncovered, the more the past haunted her. Suddenly, Marcus joined us, his innocent eyes wide with curiosity. "What are you doing?" he asked, peering at the spattered documents. I motioned for him to come closer, wanting him to feel included. "We're learning about Grandma. Do you remember anything about her?" He furrowed his brow in thought. "Just that she made cookies, and she always smiled." Olivia smiled faintly, but there was a sadness beneath it. "She did love to bake. But there were other things too, things I never wanted you to know." I glanced at my mother, sensing the tension in her voice. "Mom, can you share some stories? It might help us understand." Marcus sat cross-legged on the floor, his attention fully on her, as if he could sense the significance of what was unfolding. Olivia began to recount tales of family gatherings, of laughter and warmth, but as she spoke, I could see the shadows creeping in, the moments of silence when my grandmother's past would seep through the cracks. Then, as if the universe willed it, one of the letters slipped from my hands and floated to the floor. I reached down to pick it up, and the familiar handwriting sent shivers down my spine. It was a letter addressed to my mother, penned by my grandmother just before her passing. I opened it cautiously, my heart racing as I scanned the lines. "Tessa," Olivia breathed, her eyes wide. "What does it say?" I read it aloud, my voice trembling with the weight of each word. "My dear Olivia, there are secrets I took to my grave that I wish I could take back. I hope one day you can forgive me and that my mistakes won't shadow your family." The air in the room thickened with tension as I continued, revealing lines about betrayal and loss. I had to make choices that changed everything for us. I hope you'll find the strength to learn from them. When I finished reading, silence enveloped us. Marcus looked confused, his innocence clashing with the gravity of our discoveries. "Why would Grandma keep secrets?" he asked softly, a hint of fear in his voice. I glanced at my mother, who looked lost in thought. "Sometimes secrets are kept to protect the ones we love," Olivia finally replied, her voice breaking. "But they can also do the opposite." I felt a surge of anger mix with sympathy. She had endured so much. "Mom, we need to uncover everything. We can't let fear dictate our lives any longer." Just as I spoke those words, the front door creaked open. And David stepped inside. His face was drawn, and I sensed a storm brewing behind his stoic facade. "What's going on in here?" he asked, his gaze darting between us. I held my breath, knowing that this moment could either bridge our family or tear us apart. David, a police officer by profession, prided himself on his ability to handle crises, but he didn't seem prepared for the emotional turmoil that enveloped our home. "Dad, we're talking about Grandma," I started, but before I could continue, he cut me off. "I don't want you kids to dig into the past. It's dangerous." The urgency in his voice was unsettling, and my resolve only hardened. "Dangerous or just uncomfortable?" I shot back. David's eyes darkened, but I pressed on, fueled by the desire to confront whatever shadows loomed over us. We deserve the truth, no matter how painful it is. Olivia's hand found my shoulder, a comforting gesture amid the rising tension. "David, we need to share this burden as a family. It's time we faced it together." His expression flickered, and for a moment, I saw a glimpse of vulnerability before it vanished behind his mask of authority. With the weight of our unresolved past hanging heavy in the air, I knew that the path ahead would be fraught with challenges, but I refused to back down. In that moment, I understood that our family was at a crossroads, and it would take all of us to navigate the road ahead. There was no turning back now. We would either rise together or crumble under the weight of our secrets. As I looked around at my family, I felt an overwhelming sense of purpose. We had already taken the first step toward healing, and I was determined to uncover the layers of our past. Each answer we sought would bring us closer to understanding who we were, and perhaps it would finally bring us the peace we had longed for. In the midst of this chaos, I couldn't help but wonder if there were others out there facing their own battles with family secrets. If you're reading this, share your stories. Let's connect and find strength in our shared experiences. Together, we can face the darkness and find our way into the light. As I stood in front of the cracked mirror in my room, the reflection staring back at me felt like a stranger. The adrenaline from my earlier discovery still buzzed through my veins, a reminder that the truth was waiting just beyond the surface. I couldn't shake off the feeling that every piece of the puzzle I had managed to unearth only led to more questions, leaving me spiraling into a whirlwind of uncertainty. What had my grandmother meant by the message she left behind? Each letter, each word seemed to pulse with a life of its own, beckoning me deeper into the shadows of our family's past. Just then, Marcus burst into the room, his eyes wide with innocent curiosity. "Tessa, what's wrong? You look like you saw a ghost," he said, his voice a mix of concern and youthful wonder. I forced a smile, doing my best to mask the turmoil that churned inside me. "It's nothing, really," I replied. But as the words left my mouth, I realized how unconvincing they sounded. Marcus, with his unwavering belief in the world's goodness, deserved to remain untouched by the darkness I was about to delve into. I was determined to protect him, even if it meant carrying the weight of our family's secrets alone. "Can we play a game?" Marcus asked, his face lighting up with the suggestion. The innocence in his request tugged at my heartstrings, a reminder of the simpler times before the shadows crept in. But I knew I couldn't afford to be distracted. "How about later? I need to finish something first," I said, hoping he wouldn't sense the urgency in my voice. He nodded slowly, a hint of disappointment flickering across his features, but he seemed to accept my answer. "Okay, I'll be in the living room," he said, retreating back down the hallway. Once I was alone, I returned to the pile of papers I had scattered across my desk, the remnants of my grandmother's life mixed with the cryptic message I had uncovered. It felt like a treasure map leading me to uncharted territory, but I had no idea where to start. I couldn't shake the nagging sensation that my father, David, knew more than he was letting on. The way he had looked at me earlier, a mix of fear and anger, suggested he was afraid of what I might find. I needed answers, and I had a sinking feeling that confronting him might be my only way forward. After gathering my courage, I headed downstairs, where the faint sound of the television buzzed in the background. I found David sitting on the couch, his uniform crisp and imposing. He glanced at me, his expression shifting to one of guarded concern. "What's going on, Tessa?" he asked, his voice steady but laced with an underlying tension. I hesitated for a moment, wondering how to approach the subject without raising alarms. "I found something, a message from Grandma," I said, trying to gauge his reaction. His brow furrowed, and for a brief moment, I thought I saw a flicker of something in his eyes. Was it regret? "You shouldn't dig into the past, Tess. Some things are better left buried," he replied, his tone firm, yet heavy with unspoken truths. I clenched my fists, determination surging within me. "But I need to know, Dad. There's something there, something that could explain everything." David's jaw tightened, and for an agonizing moment, I wondered if he would push me away or pull me closer. "Listen," he finally said, his voice dropping to a near whisper. "Your mother has enough on her plate without adding more chaos. You need to think about Marcus, too. He doesn't deserve to be dragged into this." His words struck a nerve, igniting the protective instincts I felt toward my brother. "I'm not trying to create chaos, Dad. I'm trying to find the truth. Don't you want that? Don't you want to know what really happened?" My frustration bubbled over, and I could see the conflict playing out on his face, a battle between a father's instinct to shield his children and the weight of family loyalty. "Sometimes knowing the truth comes with a price," he replied quietly, a sorrowful look in his eyes. I took a deep breath, realizing that I had to be the one to break the cycle of silence. "I'm willing to pay that price, even if it means risking everything," I declared, my voice steadier than I felt. David's gaze fell to the floor, and for a moment, the air between us thickened with unspoken words. He was hiding something, I could sense it, and I had to dig deeper. "Why do you care so much about protecting the past if it means sacrificing our future?" I pressed, hoping to ignite a spark of honesty. He finally lifted his head, and in that moment, I saw a flicker of vulnerability. "Because the past has a way of haunting us, Tessa. It can shatter lives and pull families apart," he admitted, his voice barely a whisper. "Your mother, she's already struggling. I don't want to see you or Marcus suffer because of things that happened long before you were born." His sincerity pierced through my resolve, but I couldn't back down. I can't just pretend everything is fine. I need to know my family's truth, even if it hurts. I took a step closer, trying to bridge the gap between us. Help me understand, Dad, please. David hesitated, and for a moment I feared I had pushed too far. But then he sighed, a deep, weary sound. Fine. If you're determined to dig, at least let me help you do it safely. But we have to be careful, he warned, his tone grave. I felt a rush of relief mixed with apprehension. I had taken the first step toward uncovering our family secrets, but I also understood that the journey would be fraught with peril. As I left the living room, a mixture of hope and dread filled me. With each step I took, I felt the burden of my family's past settle heavier on my shoulders. But I was ready to face whatever lay ahead, for Marcus, for my mother, and for the truth that had long been hidden in plain sight.